Are you preparing for a microservices interview? This video covers the most commonly asked microservices interview questions, along with insightful answers to help you ace your next interview. Whether you're a fresher or an experienced professional, this comprehensive guide will prepare you to confidently discuss microservices concepts during your next interview. Here are some of the most commonly asked interview questions about microservices, categorized by topic. 1. Microservices basics. What are microservices? How do they differ from monolithic architecture? Explain the modular design of microservices and compare it to the tightly coupled nature of monolithic systems. What are the key features of microservices? Include independence, scalability, resilience, and domain-driven design. What are the benefits of using microservices? Discuss flexibility, scalability, and the ability to use different technologies for different services. What are the challenges of microservices architecture? Mention issues like distributed system complexity, monitoring, data consistency, and network latency. 2. Design and architecture. What is domain-driven design, DDD, and how is it related to microservices? How do you handle inter-service communication? Discuss protocols like REST, gRPC, or messaging systems like Kafka and RabbitMQ. What is service discovery, and why is it important? Explain concepts like service registries. Examples: Eureka, Consul, Zookeeper. What patterns are commonly used in microservices? Mention patterns like API gateway, circuit breaker, Saga, and event sourcing. How do you manage distributed transactions in microservices? Discuss the Saga pattern and two-phase commit protocols. 3. Communication and data. What is an API gateway, and what are its responsibilities? What is eventual consistency, and why is it important in microservices? How do you implement data sharing across microservices? Mention database per service and event-driven architectures. How do you handle communication failures between microservices? Discuss retries, timeouts, and circuit breaker patterns. What is idempotency, and why is it important in microservices? Highlight its role in ensuring the same output for repeated requests. 4. Deployment and scalability. How are microservices deployed? Explain containerization. Example: Docker and orchestration tools. Example: Kubernetes. How do you ensure scalability in microservices? Mention load balancing, horizontal scaling, and statelessness. What is a CI/CD pipeline, and how does it fit with microservices? Discuss automating deployment pipelines for independent services. How do you manage configuration in microservices? Discuss tools like Spring Cloud Config or HashiCorp Console. How do you handle versioning in microservices? Mention strategies like URI versioning and header-based versioning. 5. Security. How do you handle security in microservices? Cover authentication. Examples: OAuth 2, JWT, and authorization. Example: role-based access control. What is service-to-service authentication, and how is it implemented? Mention mutual TLS, API keys, and service mesh. Example: Istio. How do you secure sensitive data in microservices? Discuss encryption, secrets management. Example: HashiCorp Vault, and secure communication channels. 6. Monitoring and logging. How do you monitor microservices? Mention tools like Prometheus, Grafana, and ELK Stack. What are distributed traces and why are they important? Discuss tracing tools like Zipkin and Jaeger. How do you implement centralized logging in microservices? Explain logging aggregators like Fluent, Logstash, or Graylog. What is a service mesh and how does it help in observability? Mention features like traffic management, security, and monitoring. 7. Advanced topics. What is a service mesh and when would you use one? Discuss tools like Istio, Linkerd, and Console Connect. What is blue-green deployment and how is it used in microservices? What are canary releases and how do they differ from blue-green deployments? How do you handle API deprecation in microservices? What is chaos engineering and how is it relevant to microservices? 8. Practical scenarios. How would you migrate a monolithic application to a microservices architecture? Explain strategies like strangler fig and incremental refactoring. How do you troubleshoot latency issues in a microservices architecture? Mention tools like APMs, examples, New Relic, Dynatrace, and profiling. What steps would you take to improve the performance of a microservices-based system? How do you handle database schema changes in microservices? By preparing concise answers for these questions and understanding the core concepts behind them, you'll be well prepared for most microservices-related interviews. Let me know if you'd like an in-depth explanation for any specific question. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more interview preparation tips and tech tutorials. Share this video with your network to help others prepare for their microservices interviews.